Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I'm Laurent Macar. Today I'm going to talk to you about a project that I've been doing for the past 2 to 3 years, I believe. I don't really know when I started exactly. And I named that project Around the World in 80 Books. Now, it came about because I realized that I didn't know anything about most countries on our little planet. And I could remedy that by reading books from those countries. I could use internet to find options for all of the countries on the world, even though I've now kind of forgotten that list because my enthusiasm for those books has slightly diminished. I decided not to give myself any time constraints because I knew that if I would, I'd feel so constrained that I wouldn't do anything in the end. So that's why it's been going for a while, and I just counted, I'm on 38 books, I believe, so it's still something that I'm going to keep on doing for the next years, which is fine. I mean, you don't have to learn anything in a year, right? Now, I'm not necessarily looking for a specific type of book. When I read a country, I just want to get a feeling for the history, a feeling for the culture, a feeling for what life is like for the people that are living there, which obviously is impossible because countries are vastly complex, but you've got to start somewhere. Ideal are historical fiction spanning a couple of generations so that you can see what the effects are of a specific big event, often a war, on the life of people right now. But I'm not that picky. I just want a start, you know. Now, over the years, I've initially kept track in my bullet journals, but at the beginning of this year, I got myself this globe that isn't really a globe, and it's great because you can color stuff in and write stuff down. So I have been coloring in the countries that I've read, and I could also, here's Europe. I've decided to put a line around the countries that I've actually been. So here you can see that, for example, Spain has a line around it. I haven't been to many places, which is fine. I don't want to use the plane anymore, and I've got books. And what I've recently decided to do was to write down the names of the books in blue in the seas, because initially the seas, I kept them white because I didn't want to color them in because my coloring skills aren't superb, and I thought it would be a weird effect. But this is actually kind of cool because now I can also find, well, I've got the books that I read written down, so I've been liking that. Anyhow, what I decided I would do for these videos is now just walk you through the countries that I've read with books quickly, just the name of the authors. And later I'm going to do separate videos, probably organize them by continent, and then I'll talk a bit more about the books that I've read, and then later, when I'm updated, I'll just keep you updated on whenever I read another book for a specific country. Let's get cracking. Let's start first of all, let's start in North America, because you can see directly one of the problems that I had to solve in my poor little head, and that is the fact that on this globe, some countries are split up into smaller parts, obviously. So for example, the States in the US, but also Canada has been split up into separate regions, Brazil as well, and Australia as well, which makes sense. They're huge countries. We can't just say that we've been to one city or read one book and then assume we know it. But, and this is what irritates me, Russia and China are still one whole country. They haven't been split up, and that irritates me. But what I've decided to do was still color in the whole country, even if I read only one book. Although for the US, there are many books about the US, and I read a lot in English, so obviously I've read more. Brazil as well, I'm just gonna count one book and then just keep in mind that I should read more, and same for the other countries. China also, I've read a couple. Anywho, for the US, I counted Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. Canada, I still have to see, because I kind of read a book that was set in Canada, but I didn't feel like I really learned anything from that. Mexico, I counted The Murmur of Bees by Sofia Segovia. For the Dominican Republic, I counted Dominicana by Angie Cruz. Those I read recently. Then we've got in the Caribbean, Jamaica, I counted The Book of Night Women by Marlon James. Then we've got Colombia, I counted 100 Years of Solitude by Garcia Marquez. Suriname, I counted a Dutch book which was called Hoe duur was de suiker? How Expensive Was the Sugar? By C. MacLeod. But I've also read last year Wij slaven van Suriname, We Slaves of Suriname. And then I've also read a book from Chile which was 10 Vrouwen, 10 Women by M. Serrana. Let's see, that's all for North and South America. Then we've got Europe. I counted for Iceland, I counted Glass Woman by C. Leah. Ireland, I counted Milkman by Anna Burns. I kind of separated Scotland from Britain, but I see now that I haven't really done that with Wales. Kind of half white, still half green. But anyway, for Britain, I counted The Dark Circle by, I think it's Leah Grant. Then we've got the Netherlands. I counted Het Diner by Herman Koch. Obviously, I've read more books set in those countries or that told me stuff from those countries, but I had to count one, so counted that one. For Belgium, I counted The Angel Maker by S. Brijs. For Germany, I counted Tell by, what's his name? D. Kellerman? Probably David Kellerman? I don't know. France, I counted Germinal by Émile Zola. The Czech Republic, which apparently is too small to have their name written on this globe, I counted The Impossible Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. And for Spain, I have got Episodes from the Life of Lulu by A. Grandis. Already looking forward to talking to you about that book. Then, by the way, the problem with this with the globe in general, when you're trying to write down stuff corresponding to the countries, is that some countries don't really have space next to them. They're too small. They haven't got a sea next to it. So Turkey had to write it down here. So for Turkey, I've read The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak. And, well, let's just go this way. For Syria, I counted We Crossed a Bridge and It Trembled by Wendy Perlman. Then we've got Russia, so huge country. I counted The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Azerbaijan, I counted Ali and Nino by Kay Said. For Afghanistan, I counted, let me see where it is, The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. Then we've got, let's go this way. For Oman, I counted The Celestial Bodies by J. Al-Harti. I believe this was the winner of the International Booker Prize 2 years ago, not sure. Yemen, I counted Zwarte Mamba, Black Mamba by N. Mohammed, although that was a book that kind of traveled, but originally the kid came from Yemen. Algeria, I counted L'Art de Perdre by Alice Zenitaire, which would translate to The Art of Losing. Then we've got Nigeria, Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Adichie. Ghana, I counted Ghana Must Go by Selabasi. Liberia is a book that I recently read that was Allah's Not Obliged. Sorry, I'm not really showing you the globe. I'm just showing you where the text is because I need to be able to read the text. Then we have got Cameroon. I read Houseboy by F. Oyona. The Democratic Republic of Congo, I read Congo Inc. by E. Bofana. And let me see, did I tell you about all of them? Rwanda, I read Baking Cakes in Kigali by Gail Parkin, I believe his name is. Then we've got Madagascar, I read Le Bal des Dodos, the Ball of the Dodos by G. Dorman. I've read a book that was set in Mauritius, but I really can't remember what it was. I looked through my Goodreads, but I kind of already wrote down Mauritius. I still should find out what it is. Let me see, is that everything for Africa? Yes, that's everything for Africa. Africa is really, I think all of the books that I've read, especially set in this region, it's always war, and so much violence. It's hard to read sometimes. That's another reason I've been doing things slowly. Let's see, then we've got the whole of Asia. Asia's kind of big. China, I counted Pearl of China by A. Min. South Korea, I counted Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. It was hard to decide whether I was going to put that on South Korea or Japan. Then we've got India. I counted The Levens van Anderen. Oh, I didn't write down the author's name. The Life of Others. For Myanmar, I counted The Piano Tuner by Daniel Mason. It was an awesome book. And then for Australia, I counted Lost Man by Jane Harper. And New Zealand, I counted Whale Rider by W. Ihimera. I think that was all of the countries, that I read for now. As you can see, I have got a lot to go, which is something I've been looking forward to do. at my own tempo. I might not stop after 80, I might just continue. I don't know, we'll see. That is all that I had for this video. As I said, I'm going to put up videos where I talk a bit more about the books, tell you a bit more about what they were about. If you have any recommendations for some of the countries that I did not name, that you said, oh, I read this book and it was really awesome, please let me know. Let me know if you want me to talk about the books that I've read for a longer or shorter amount of time, because I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. And that is all for today. I'll see you in another video. Thank you for watching. Bye!